Have you ever felt the tight coil of tension in your chest, like invisible hands squeezing you every time you think of your endless to-do list or replay conversations that didn't go as planned? It's as if your body has become a container for every worry, every what if, every need to micromanage tomorrow so that you feel safe today. In those moments, letting go seems impossible. Control feels like the only refuge, even as it deepens the pressure. Yet, if we pause and look beyond our own impulses to control, we discover that some of nature's most remarkable creatures have mastered the art of release, turning stress into renewal, tightness into freedom, and the unknown into possibility. Today, let us journey together with three extraordinary guides: the snake that sheds its own skin without hesitation, the camel that carries its world on its back and lets go of what it no longer needs, and the great whale that dives deep into the ocean's vast unknown, only to rise again, lighter and renewed. In their stories, we find reflections of our own struggles and the wisdom to release what no longer serves us so we can embrace a life of grace and ease. Snakes, the power of shedding old layers. Imagine a desert at dawn, the horizon a soft wash of pale gold. Amid scattered tufts of brush, a snake appears, its scales dusted with the cool sand. At first glance, it seems like any other moment in the desert's quiet rhythm. But then you notice, that same snake is shedding its skin, sliding forward to leave behind a translucent cast of itself, a perfect imprint of old form, old patterns, old constraints. This process is as natural as the rising sun. Beneath the old skin, the snake grows, its body renewed and unburdened by the tight, worn-out layer it no longer needs. There is no resistance, no longing for the familiar fit of yesterday's skin. Instead, there is only the acceptance that growth demands release, and that only in letting go of the old can we become our next truest selves. In our own lives, we cling to outdated beliefs, regrets, and comfort zones long past their purpose. We hold on to identities that no longer fit, relationships that drain us, and expectations that weigh us down. Yet, like the snake, we can choose a moment of quiet courage to shed these layers, trusting that beneath lies the space for fresh possibility. Next time you sense an old habit constricting your spirit, whether it's a story you tell yourself about what you cannot do or a routine that no longer inspires, pause and ask, what skin am I ready to slough off today? In that act of release, you open yourself to the new life waiting just beneath the surface. Camels, carrying essentials, letting go of excess. Now shift your vision to a vast, sun-baked desert where caravans of camels trace ancient routes across shifting dunes. These magnificent animals bear heavy loads, yet they move with a steadiness that few creatures can match. The secret to their endurance lies not only in what they carry, but in what they are willing to let go of. Camels store fat in their humps, not water, but that stored energy sustains them through days, even weeks, without nourishment. When they find an oasis, they drink deeply, then rise and continue on, their humps shrinking as they use the reserve. They do not hoard more than they need, nor do they clutch tightly to each drop once sated. Instead, they embody a balance of preparedness and release, knowing that what they carry should serve their journey, not burden it. In our lives, we often pack our mental and emotional backs with more than we require, worrying about every possible outcome, collecting tasks and concerns until we can barely move. But the camel teaches us that true resilience comes from carrying only what nourishes us and letting go of the rest. Imagine unstrapping one more burden from your own back, perhaps the need to anticipate every detail of an uncertain future, or the guilt that comes from not doing enough. Feel the lightness that follows as you trust that your inner reserves, your strengths, your relationships, your capacity for renewal will carry you when you truly need them. Whales, diving deep to surface renewed. Finally, journey with me to the vast, undulating ocean, where a great whale breaches the shimmering surface with awe-inspiring grace. Before that moment of triumph, however, lies a different story, a plunge into the deep, charting a course through dark waters that hide both wonder and danger. Whales dive to extraordinary depths, navigating with precise control of their buoyancy, heart rate, and oxygen reserves. In the cold, silent realm below, they feed, explore, and connect. Then, after exploring the unknown, they ascend, exhaling a powerful spout and emerging into the light of day, refreshed, grounded, and ready to sing their songs across the waves. This cycle of dive and rise teaches us that sometimes we must descend into our own depths, confronting fears, facing uncertainties, and exploring the hidden currents of our emotions before we can surface with renewed insight and vitality. It is not an escape from stress to remain on the surface. It is through the deliberate journey inward that we find clarity and the breath to rise. Next time anxiety tugs at your mind, consider the whale's example. Allow yourself a moment to dive inward through mindfulness, reflection, or honest conversation with a trusted companion. Then, when you surface, let that exhale be a release of what you've carried, making way for a new perspective and deeper calm. When the snake sheds its old skin, when the camel balances its load and sets free what it no longer needs, and when the whale dives into the deep only to rise again, a profound theme emerges. Life's vitality depends on our capacity to release, whether it's old layers, excess weights, or inner turbulence. These animals do not cling to control. They meet their worlds with a fluidity born of trust, in their bodies, in their instincts, in the rhythms of nature itself. In their actions, we discover that stress and the compulsion to manage every outcome are burdens we need not carry. Instead, by welcoming the art of letting go, we reclaim the lightness of being that allows us to thrive. Pause for a moment and turn your attention inward. Picture the skin you still wear that no longer fits, perhaps a story of failure, a role you've outgrown, or a habit that drains your spirit. Notice its weight, its constriction. Then imagine sliding out of it like the snake, stepping into a new guise that fits your emerging self. Recall the burdens piling on your back, endless tasks, worries about what might happen, expectations you've internalized. Visualize setting down one of those loads, placing it gently on the sand like a camel shedding surplus grain, and feeling your shoulders release their tension. Finally, feeling the pull of your own inner ocean, gather your breath and dive deep into quiet reflection, into your truest fears, into the stirring of unspoken hopes. And then, allow yourself to surface, imagining the rush of exhale as whales break through the waves, renewing your connection to the present moment and the vast sky above. Letting go is not a sign of weakness, but a declaration of trust in ourselves, in the wisdom of nature, and in the unfolding of life beyond our control. When we choose to shed old skins, unburden our backs, and dive through our depths, we open space for renewal, resilience, and profound joy. So the next time stress coils tight in your mind, remember the snake, the camel, and the whale. Allow their timeless practices to guide you. Release what no longer serves you, carry only what sustains you, and trust in the journey inward that leads you back into the light. In the dance of letting go, we find our truest freedom and the gentle confidence to face whatever waves may come. And the animals are still teaching us if we're willing to release our grip and learn.